Welcome to the Pretty Red ENT show. It's your girl, Goddess Naquita, aka Pretty Red ENT. And if nobody told you they loved you today, just know that Goddess Naquita, she loves you today. Okay. All right, guys, I'm sending so much love and light out to everybody, including myself, to the universe, to the plants, to the flowers, to the ground that we walk on, to the soil. Like, I don't know why I'm in a mood like that, but hey, okay. Okay. All right, guys. So what I want to talk to y'all about today, it's something so beautiful. I don't know. I kind of had an epiphany last week, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to my podcasters, to people who listen to me, about being used, right? Because I remember one time, like, one of my exes, rest in peace to him, rest in paradise. He used to say to me, he's like, you got to know who you want to be used by, because we all use each other, but you need to know who you want to be used by, because if you don't know that, then you don't know how to do what you need to do. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to be used by nobody. Like, if it's to the point where it affects me, then yeah, but I don't want to be used by nobody. I don't want that. That's just, I mean, I kind of get what he was saying, but I don't know. Is this a real thing? Like, where people just think that they could just use people? Like, prime example, guys. Like, hold on. Let me, shots fired. Okay. Man down. I know I'm on y'all today, but okay, I guess I gotta tap into it. But say, for instance, right? Like, have you been used to the point where, I'm trying to think about the right words I want to say, like, where it could be energy. Like, you give out so much good energy, but people only want to call you when their energy's low or when they're having a bad day, or they want to call you and talk about so much negative stuff. Like, never nothing positive. Just, that's because they want to use your positive energy to boost them up. Like, hold on. Your job is to boost yourself up. I am not responsible for your half. I'm only responsible for me. So yeah, you know I got good energy, but here you go, want to call me all the time, talk about your problems, this and that. Like, how about you call me and talk about some real loving things, like how much you love me, or if you miss me. And this goes for family members too, because I have some of them family members that all they do is call me, talk about their problems, or they just want verification or clarification. Like, that sometimes it's stressful, right? Because sometimes what you don't know what you could do to this other person, it makes them feel devalued. Like, dang, like, you can't call me when things are good. You can't call me just to tell me positive stuff that happened to you in your life this day. But you want to call and tell me about something negative that happened to you, but you can't even take your time out of your day to tell me about the positive stuff. Like, dang, the fact that you still breathing is the best thing ever, okay? I'm just saying, like, hey, hold on. Y'all know me, but it's a real thing. So I was having a conversation with someone, one of my teachers last week, and we were talking about like different things with what I'm going to do and how I'm going to get there. And I was like, gosh, I don't know. But 3 weeks ago, I don't know what came over me, but I just could not move. And I think about this because whatever was going on with me was a core issue I had going on. And it had to be released. And I released it, and it feels so good. I feel so good. Yeah, I feel good. And I think the thing that really helped me, and I didn't really target it. I mean, I targeted that way, But I kind of like went to sleep, woke up, and just was like thinking about like times when people just use me. Right? Because people don't talk about that a lot of times. Like when people just use you because you are you. Right? Prime example, I was talking to my teacher and I was telling her about like what I used to get in trouble for at school. And I was like, so what do you think I used to get in trouble for at school? Me and my brother, like both of us, like used to get in trouble. I mean, my brother used to get in trouble for a lot of stuff. But the main time, like, they really made my mama call off work is for a particular reason. So I'm just going to, like, before anything, guys, if you could guess this, hit me up on Snapchat. Tell me the answer before I give it to y'all. Or hit me up on Instagram, my podcast, YouTube, wherever you listening to this. What do you think I got in trouble for since I have started school? Like, period. From kindergarten all the way up to high school, okay? Like, hold on. I don't even know if they got a song like, hold on. Okay. So, I don't know. They ain't got a noise for it. I got to make me one. So, here's what I would say, guys. I got in trouble because people wanted to cheat off me, right? So, I talk about this because I'm about to explain to y'all for people who be like, I don't believe in psychology. I don't know why we're going to talk about our past. Like, this is too much. I'm going to explain to you by using me how this manifests into the future. Okay. So back in the day, I used to get in trouble all the time for letting people cheat off me. Like, it was so bad. One time we were in I think it was 8th grade. We was at Parham, and shout out to Parham, you know what I'm saying? Because they want us to say Parham, but it was Parham, okay? But I was, they called my mama off work. And next thing I know is I remember my mama whooped me and my brother in advance. Like, whooped us. I'm like, I didn't do nothing wrong. I don't do this. I never did stuff wrong. But I'm like, I don't do nothing wrong. But she whooped us in advance. So she whooped us the day before she had to go in. When she went in, I promise you this. The teacher said, I don't know how you do it, but your kids do their homework. My mom was like, okay. She's like, but everybody is cheating off of them. And we know this because we tested this theory out. And I was like, ooh, my mom was like, really? She's like, yeah, like we weren't calling you because your kids were being bad. We were calling you to see if you could talk to your kids about not letting the other kids cheat off of them. My mom felt so bad for whooping us that she let us get anything that we want. But a lot of people don't know, like, why did we do this at this particular time? We were in 8th grade. So let's rewind back. Okay, so my mom put us in an all-white school, and half the time when little kids used to be looking at my paper, I used to raise my hand like, hey, they cheating off me. The little white girl, used to have a fit and be like, no, she's cheating off me. And I used to get in trouble all the time because of that. And I'm like, bro, I am not cheating off you. Like, I have always been intelligent. I always been smart. But at this particular time, I remember telling them that I wasn't. But the girl cried wolf. Okay. This is what people mean by crying wolf. Like, where people just be lying, She's cheating off me. She's going to harm me because I didn't let her see my paper. And I'm like, nah, I don't. Like, I'm not trying to do that. Like, I didn't cheat off this girl. Like, I actually know my answers, right? So what happened when this happens at a young age, right? You're in school and you're telling the teacher like, hey, this person's cheating off me. And the teacher's like, oh, because you're black, we're not going to hear you today. We're going to skip over you. Whatever this white girl says, that's what happened. And we're going to take it as that. Like, what? Like, what's going on? Okay. So make a long story short, like, I used to just, a lot of times, like, I used to just get in trouble just because people couldn't use me, or because I'm like, no, I don't want you to do that. And then they start making a scene like I'm trying to attack them, or I'm just trying to do crazy stuff to them. Imagine how I felt. Like, where I felt like I couldn't speak up for myself because I was damned if I do and damned if I don't. So fast forward a little bit when it came to life, right? Once I got older, out of high school, I went to high school because we're talking about elementary. Then I went to like junior high. Now we're going to talk about high school. Now, 7th, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, I went to the black school, okay? Like, I went to the school of the hood. Parham was the school of the hood. Then I also went to Winton Woods, which is kind of like the suburb area. So I went to there, and it was more diverse, but there was more black people, okay? So I went there, and I don't know if, like, at Winton Woods, I don't think we had time to really cheat. I don't know how to explain it. Like, we didn't have time for people to be like, hey, what'd you get on this answer? Or what'd you do for that? Like, we just didn't have time to do that. Like, I feel like a lot of times, like, people have their own perspective on how they should treat someone because they feel like they are this way instead of actually really finding out, right? So when I went to the white school for my 11th and 12th grade, I went back to the same white area, okay, that I went to elementary for, okay. Make a long story short, I went there and everybody was cheating off me. Like, I used to tell those kids, like, they used to fart by me. I'm like, bro, that's trifling. They used to just like to hear the word trifling. And I'm like, that's trifling. That's nasty. But they always used to cheat off of me. It's crazy. I used to sit there and pass notes in class and still pass the class with not really learning because I already learned everything that they're teaching them in 11th and 12th grade because I went to the school in the hood. I learned that in 8th grade, 9th and 10th. So it was like, I was just sitting up there just doing it. But I also like certain things. So I remember one day, like there was one teacher that like recognized what was going on. And she was like, look, one thing for sure, two things for certain. I know that you already read the book. And so, but I noticed that everybody's getting their answers from you because I made your test different for a reason. And half of the class, like, I think it was like, hold on, it at least had to have been like 22 of us in there. Like 19 of them had the same exact answers I had on my test, which I had a whole different test. And she said, that's crazy, which means to me that there's 3 people around you. They're all getting the answers from you and they're spreading them around, which lets me know that everybody is cheating off of you. Now, it's technically not your fault, but I hear you when you're saying that they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and I apologize for that. But I'm also sorry that this happened to you, right? And I was like, gosh, like I ain't never heard nobody say that to me before. But she's like, I only can help you in my classroom, but I can't really do too much about your other classroom. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I learned at a very young age that like, if people wanted to use me, just to go ahead and let them do that. So when I got to college in 2008, I was like, nah, I'm kind of paying for this, bro. I ain't about to let you cheat off me. But because there was a lot to do with criminal justice degree. Like that legal writing really blew my handwriting out. But I just wouldn't let nobody cheat off me because I felt like more like I was an adult where I had more room to say like, stop playing with me, or just like, no, I don't want to do it. Like, I don't care how much money you offer me. I just don't want you to cheat off me. Right. So that's how it kind of like plays from the start to finish. But let me talk about how this effect that really happened to me, the root of letting someone use me where I couldn't speak up. Right. And it's like, okay, let you keep doing it until I get mad and then I speak up. Or let me keep doing it until, I don't know, whenever I get mad, okay? Like, so prime example is, now let's apply this to relationships, right? Oh no, y'all know I ain't playing no games with y'all today. Okay. No games is being played here. When it comes to relationships and how this manifested and applied into my relationships. One, did I see my mama getting used when I was a child? Yes. Did I know that was wrong for what people did to my mom? Yes. Okay. Is there a way of, like, I see now, like, I ain't doing all that? Yes. So some of the things of the patterns that I seen as a child, I kind of like avoided that, if that makes sense, guys. But for the most part, I think the thing that really got me was when it came to my relationships, right? And especially once Pluto moved into Capricorn. Woo-hoo, let's talk about that, baby. Listen, Capricorn is the most karmic sign of the zodiacs, right? So if it's the karmic sign, because like Pluto moving into Capricorn is a karmic thing, right? So people who are the cardinal signs were experiencing karmic stuff and dealing with karmic things that probably happened in a past life that they had to really get down and dirty and be like, all right, I'm getting up out of this cycle. I learned my lesson for 15 years. So you take 2024 and then you minus 15 years. That's how long we have been experiencing that, right? Like, is this something that I would wish on anybody? I wouldn't even wish this on my daggone enemy. Like, bruh, like, no. Like, no, right? So Pluto moving into Capricorn was probably about 2008. So what this does is help you see the cycles, because Pluto is about deep stuff. So deep stuff that you don't even know about. You got to figure it out. Whoop-de-whoop whoop. Okay, y'all know my whoop-de-whoop whoops what that mean. So 2008, like, I began to cycle that I didn't figure out until daggone 2020, but I knew that something was off. I'm like, this is not how my story goes. Something is wrong and something is affecting me. But then I started learning about the planets and everything. Okay. I started learning about everything. I'm like, something wrong. I need to figure out. I can't figure out here. It's not working out. I need answers. And when I need answers, when an Aries needs answers, they gonna get them. And I put that on everything. Aries are put here to do any mission. They're going to succeed because that's just what the universe just decided us. You can't come into this planet unless you go through the first house. And the first house is Aries. Okay. So I'm like, all right, cool. So I remember, like, in 2008, who I was with and what I was doing. I was like, dang, like, was I getting used at this time? I really was. I was getting used by everybody around me. And I'm like, dang, like, these people are just scandalous. Like, I was with a dude, like, I could say, like, I was in a relationship with that man. Like, he was like, I gotta say, like, he was the first man I was with, because there's a difference between a man, a boy, and a nigga, okay? There's a difference between all those. Like, there's a difference in the status in what I'm saying. Like, I was with my first man at a very young age. And so it was like, not somewhat young, but somewhat young. And there's a difference, okay? Like, Real men don't let you pay for nothing in their presence. They open doors. They do gifts. They do all of that. All the above what women really want men to do, men do that. Okay. And I'm so sorry for any woman listening to this that be like, no, they don't. They don't do that. Like, I don't know. Like, it's so weird to hear women say that. I'll be like, bro, I have never been in a situation and a black man haven't really helped me out. I don't know. Like, my grandfather is a perfect example. He was in my life. Also, my brother, really, I might cry a little bit. He's still gonna help me out. This all depends. But I have never been in a situation where no man hasn't helped me out. That's weird to me. Okay. So to hear women say that, that's like really throws me off. Like, what's going on? Like, what are you being used by? So I feel like the reason why, if some women haven't experienced the love that they want, is because there's a root to this. They keep attracting the same thing because this root is still there in the soil. So you need to pull it up and start brand new. You feel me? So in my relationships, I used to give. Like, people used to use me like, dang, I remember like, I found out like my ex was like sleeping with my friend, and I was like, gosh, that's weird. Like, and I was like, I was helping this person out for real. Like, to be honest with you. So this person was really just using me. So once that relationship ended, I felt like everybody owes me. I ain't gonna hold y'all. When I said everybody owed me once that relationship was done, and I was like really trying to get back on my mojo, I was crying for a while. I cried for a second. But I really thank God for the people that I had in my life at that moment, because the way how they motivated me to get back into the mood. And then I end up meeting this one guy. Okay. That's the surgeon. I ended up meeting the surgeon. He was cool people. It was an experience. And I knew that I should have been with him because he matched everything that I had. Okay. He never used me for anything. Like, it's weird. Like, to actually sit up here and like examine this, like, okay, what did he use me for? Like, no, he usually paid for everything. Anytime I ever seen him, it was, I don't know, like he got to see the real me. Not a lot of men that I have dated have seen the real me. He saw the real me, and he always got the real me. And that's the soft feminine side of me. Like, y'all already know what I was talking about. When we could drop the masculine and just be feminine, like, yeah. Like, he got that side. Like, one of my friends is like, every guy you're talking to, that guy gets the real you. Like, that's weird. Like, you like him, he likes you. I'm like, yeah. But I was going through a moment in school, and I was like, listen, but I was also being hurt. I was also going through a moment of hurt, and I was like, I was acting out. You hear me? I went out every weekend. Like, there wasn't a weekend that I didn't go out. Still in school, having 2 jobs. And it was a lot. Will I say that I was really hurt? Like, yeah. But I felt like I was really hurt because I felt like he used me for my time. But he used me for a lot of things that I don't speak about. But I really feel this way about it, right? So, make a long story short, I started to see the cycles that I was in that I needed to heal. Because fast forward, I'm thinking about somebody that I was with. I was like, gosh, they really used me. I have never said it out loud because I have never healed about people using me. And like how that has affected me, like for real, to like a few days ago. And I'm like, okay, like, so basically this all started when I was younger. It has affected me, my relationships, and everything that I do, to the point where I was okay to be around people if they were using me. Now, did I eventually go jump off the porch? Okay, if y'all black, y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't, that's when I just started going wild. Okay, we're gonna say that. But then I started learning about skep people and doing skep stuff. Like if you're skep, then skeptical. Like I was like, okay. But it was a crazy thing, but I still had a heart full of gold. I don't know how to explain it. I just knew how to operate around people who was using me. Right? Like, I'm like, oh, well, you know, this is that. Like, I'm a person, I always call you out on it. Like, but I feel like in a position to make me feel better about myself, I needed to be able to know how to really love myself, where someone isn't using me for the stuff that I have. They're not using me for my body. They're not using me for my house. They're not using me because I smoked weed and I'm always rolling up, so they know that, hey, let me go over here to Nikita's house because she's always smoking. I supported my own habits back then, okay? Still do to this day. Like something I want to do, I support my own habits. But I always been like that, right? I always had a bottle. You knew me back in the day. I promise you, anybody would tell you, that girl, she always had a bottle. But half the time I wouldn't even drink the bottle. I would just sit there and watch my friends drink that bottle and see how they react. And this is what I mean sometimes when people don't know how to express, like, I know that you're using me and it hurts. Now, I remember one time when my old best friend, her cousin said, oh, your flunky outside. I said, I ain't nobody flunky, bruh. Like, he was like, oh, well, you know, you do all this and all that for her. I do that because I love her, but I ain't nobody flunky. My love language, but see, then I didn't know about love languages. Now that I do, like, my love language is giving. I can't say that it is not giving because I love that. I love gifting my friends with gifts. I love doing that. That's just me. It makes me happy. I like to also receive that too. And I remember, like, my ex-best friend, we used to talk, and I'm like, girl, one day I had a serious talk with her. I don't know what kind of planets was going at that time. I said, listen, I do a lot, bro. Like you have not did nothing for real to make me feel like we should continue this relationship. And I want to say, like, she really heard me and actually made effort to actually be my friend and give to me. So I want to say that, like, when somebody really love you, you're able to really express how you're feeling and they hear what you're saying and then they make changes to what you're saying. So that way recourse can happen. Okay. That's about recourse, making things happen. But it became a point where, you know, like sometimes like people also will like be around me, and some of the friends that I did have that were like my really good friends, they would give to me too. But some of my friends who were using me used to be so mad at this friend giving to me. And I'm like, why are they so angry for? But I'm always a person, like, everybody's going to be happy in front of me. Like, I don't want nobody to not be happy. But if you're not happy, then you need to figure out what's going on, because if you want to be around me, they're going to be around me and you're going to be around me. So y'all going to have to come to truce when y'all around me. But if y'all want to do anything else outside of that, you're going to have to do that on your own time. I'm just not that person I'm not about to pick a side, and I shouldn't have to pick a side. Right? So I really feel like when people use you, it's a thing where you hurt for real, because some people, you don't really know how to express it. And I remember at times I used to sit there and think, like, do this dumb. Like, female, Negro, man, woman, think like they really using me, think this is funny and this is a game. But see, with Aries people, I'm not speaking to anything else, but we are very highly intelligent people. So we know when you using us, right? And we already know the ending to this. Sometimes some of us used to sit back to be like, I wonder how far they gonna drag me in the mud. But see, the thing about that is, if you're dragging an Aries through the mud, you have to, baby, when I say They a little dangerous. I always tell people that it depends on who you're talking about. But the Aries people are very dangerous when you do that. As far as you drug them to the mud, that's how long they're gonna keep you in hell times 10. So you got to be prepared for that. Like, you want to play games, make sure you know who you playing games with, because some people, you're a part of their show. They're not a part of yours. So what I want to say too is that I used to really be like, I used to get a kick out of knowing what this person was about to do. But I was more like, I want to speak up, but I was a person like, I don't want to cause conflict either. Because sometimes when I speak my mind and when you're telling people like, hey, I feel like you're using me, there sometimes comes conflict, right? Let's talk about that. Shots fired. When the person that is being used by another person finally speaks up, sometimes this other person, which is a great manipulator, starts doing what? Telling you that you're lying, telling you that you're just seeing it all in your head. So typically, I'm a person, I don't even like to argue with people. Back in the day, people would tell you, I'm not about to argue with you. We either fighting or we not. I don't have time. But even then, because half the time, like, I really was expressive to the people I really love. So the people around me, I never used to have a lot of people around me. But the people around me know I'm very expressive. So, and I didn't express this in front of other people. I used to be like, hey, I don't like that. It took a lot though. I want to say that, like, it took like 4, 5, 6, 7 incidents for me to be like, hey, I don't like that. I see that you're treating me wrong. Right. But it shouldn't have to take that. You should be able to say that on the first time that you feel like somebody is using you. And you know that they're using you, right? So prime example, like, let's fast forward a little bit, or let's fast forward a little bit to once my spiritual awakening came, okay? Like, because that's when it gets crazy. Okay. 33. You know what I'm saying? That's right there. Y'all know, if you know, then you know. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. If you know that you know that you know. So 33 came and I was like, all right, cool. And next thing I know is like, I'm freaking out because you 33, you kind of freak out. Like, spiritually, that's when the spiritual, everything, like the chains came off Black people, all of that. Like, so we all just started like waking up at one time. Like, what the heck is this? Right. So when I'm going through this, I'm like, hold on. Like, I'm a real sweetheart. People don't really know that. I'm a real sweetheart. But I also am an Aries. So y'all gotta understand there is a switch. And once that switch go off, it's off. It's on the floor. And I'm not gonna play no games with you, like none. But I'm also a real lover and I'm very forgiving. Like, I don't want to hold on to that. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be upset. I'm just want to love people. That's it. So I'm like, gosh, like, once I was going through a situation, I'm like, hold on. Like, bro, like, I can't allow you to use me like that. You're using me. You know that you're using me. My problem is that you want to use me. So people used to tell me back at 33, you used to be like, hey, you know what? I just want to say, like, you really looked out for me when I didn't have nothing. And I just want to say, like, thank you for that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, so you're not going to repay me? So you're not going to repay me? Where my money? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is you doing? So me being who I am and my birth card, if you know my birth card, then you know what I'm talking about. We know when we know, but we also like very, very, very highly protected. It's not something like that's not protected. We are very highly protected people. So I'm like, all right, cool. So the next thing I know is, guys, like, I'm like, hold on. Like, I don't even like the fact that you even using me to talk to me while you have another person. I used to be okay with that because I was like, I looked at you as my friend, but we really not friends, bro. Like, and I used to be friends with a lot of guys. Like, I ain't gonna lie to y'all, but I listened to this girl the other day and she was talking about how men like to harvest energy. And I talk about that all the time. I was like, hold on. One day I was manifesting and I knew I was about to hit. And then I went and had sex. And this guy went down there to the casino and won the exact same amount that I was manifesting. And I was like, you know what? Bro, you owe me some money. Period. But see, he knew that I was doing that. That's what I think made me more mad, is that he actually knew that I was doing that. So you got to be very careful on who you share your energy with and who you allow to talk to you. And I remember like waking up on my spiritual journey. Like, I'm like, ooh, I just know that I know that I'm finna hit a scratch off. Next thing I know is I was connected to a few people. And like, I'm like, hold on, why when I hit a scratch out, baby, which let me know that you all in my energy field and you need to get out. Cause you ain't even doing no work to even be in my energy field. You shouldn't even be allowed to even be in there. But like, people can really, like, some people like to harness your energy, especially like, you really shouldn't be dealing with no man unless they are your person. You shouldn't give no man relationship advice because that taps them into a different part of your energy and you need to let it go. I'm a person like, yeah, you know, I want to do this part of psychology, but I would love to help my Black men. But at the same time, there's definitely a protection field that I will put up. And I'm going to talk about that will keep them away from my energy and have them with their own energy, right? But people, guys, they do that all the time. So I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, so I remember like one of my exes, like I just wanted to heal him. Like, and it's so crazy that I just wanted to heal him. Like so much, like, cause I could feel his pain. So you gotta understand, so at this time when I was dating this young man, I didn't really know that I was that. I mean, I knew I was like, I'm just spiritual. Every time somebody asked me, I used to be like, I'm just spiritual. I'm just me. Like, I believe in God, whatever, but I'm just spiritual. Like, I believe that things happen for a reason, right? And this young man came into my life and I was with him for like 5-7 years. So, and it was like, I never really looked at how he used me. And the people with the 48 powers of law or 47 powers of law, those are dangerous people because they teach you how to manipulate people. I don't like that. If you can't be, I remember I was one day saying this and my brother was talking about, he's like, yeah, rest in paradise to Slick Butter. Like a Slick Butter is this boy. He's like, yeah, Slick said we should read the 48 Powers of Law. And so I opened it because we happened to see the book. I still remember like it was yesterday. We was in Kroger's, me and my brother. And I'm like, what? I say, but if you are a real person, you already know this. But why would you want to manipulate somebody to really be your friend? I don't like that. I don't trust that, right? So I'm a sensitive person. I just don't like this book. I mean, it's a great book if you need to learn boundaries, right? But if you from the streets for real, you probably already do this. Some of the stuff in the books. But there are some people that read it religiously and do that. Like, and they get you hooked like that. I was like, nah. So the reason why I mentioned this is because this young man did this in a different way because he knew that I really wanted authentic love, right? So me and him was dating, and he used to just like give to me. And then all of a sudden it started going down and then it started going down. And then it went really down. And then I'm like, gosh. And then he was just wanting me to give to him. And I'm like, that is some feminine energy, which he is a feminine sign, but that's real feminine. If you want a woman to do anything for you, that means you're really tapping into your feminine energy. Has nothing to do with me, but it's really weird. And I'm a person to express that. But I never really said out loud that this particular young man have used me. But I did do some healing work, but I chose to do my healing work different with this young man. But I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm about to heal all this, bro. I'm cool. Once I get into that mode where I'm healing, I don't even play games. People know that, bro. Like when I take my time out to really heal, like I'm going in full throttle. I'm crying. I'm doing all of that. But that relationship, I didn't know how much it affected me until 2 weeks ago. But I was like, hold on, because now I'm able to express everything that I wanted to say back in the day. I'm able to express that now. I ain't even gonna lie to you. I'm able to express that to a T, to a point. Like, stop playing with me. I am not the person to be playing with. I am not. Just don't play with me right now. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Don't play with it. Baby, don't play with it. Okay. I'm just not the person to be playing with right now when it comes to that. Because I will straight up call you out on that. For people that even try to use me for my good energy, I be calling people out on that. Like, hold on, you need to go do your inner work. I can tell if you doing your inner work by if you calling me or talking to me. I can tell if there's energy that leaves my vicinity because I have a real big energy field. So if I know even a tap it, not even 10%, 1% leaves my field, I'm going to know where it went and I'm going to know that you did not do your inner work. Okay? Like, just period. Which, then again, guys, is not fair to me, right? It's not fair to anybody. So, to me, how I feel like you should start with doing healing work around being used is to see if you can go back to see when was the very first time you were being used. Now, if I'm really doing healing work about being used, back in the day when I was probably about 5, 6, 7, I got hands. Like, and I'm not just saying that just to say that either, guys. Like, I remember, like, yeah, okay. And I remember my cousin and them used to just call me outside to beat people up. That means that they started using me at that very young age. I was fighting girls that were like 10 and like 7. I did not like that. But I'm also a protector because that's the Aries nature. We are born protectors. So if we are protecting something, at anything that happens during that time, we are justified. We don't have to do all the extra stuff because we are justified in that, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. So if I'm going back to the first time I was being used, because I didn't like when they was doing that to me when I was a kid, my cousins calling me because they know, like, okay, I know Nikita ain't gonna lose. like I'm like, oh, okay, like, yeah, like, but is this where I feel like my root is of me being used started at? Yes, for me. But if you're talking about ancestral being used, that's when you got to go back to what happened with your grandma, what happens to your great grandma. And that work is a little bit deep because you can really, if you really tapped in, you can feel that, especially if you here to do ancestral work. And I know a lot of people that listen to my stuff, some of them do ancestral work, some don't. But that's the more you heal them. But the more that you heal, the more that is revealed to you too. So that way you know how to like break a chain or break a generational curse or do this and that. Like you got to really go in and do that healing work. But the more you do healing work, the more you heal your generation. So I'm like, dang. So while I was at home, so let me tell you how this plays a part. And I'm going to probably wrap it up in here in a second. This plays a part because when I went home in the summertime, I was triggering. When I say I was triggering my family like crazy, but it was not on purpose, right? Because I feel like even though I was triggering them, I feel like that kind of led me to where I am 2 weeks ago with my healing work, right? And I'm like, okay, well, what happened to my great grandma here? Like, y'all keep saying different stuff. Like, I already know. But see, the thing is, I already know the truth. I need y'all to call it out. So that way, the thing about breaking stuff is to call it out. Yes, it's on us, but we're about to call it out today. We're going to call this spirit out and banish it. Boom. Next thing I know is I knew that my great aunt was telling the truth. And I knew that my grandma at this moment was telling the truth because she wanted to be telling the truth while her sister's there, okay? Sometimes they be lying, sometimes they be telling the truth. But this moment, I can feel in my heart it was true because I feel like my great grandma was like, facts. Like, I felt that. So do I ever feel like my great grandma has been used for her body? Yeah. Did it happen to my grandma? Yes. Did it happen to my mom? Yes. Did it happen to me? Yes. But it stops here, right? So when you're talking about this and you're dealing with certain things, you're like, okay, yes, my sex is great. Okay, I can't lie and say that baby it's not. And this is not me broadcasting this, but we're talking about something very important, right? So if you have a very particular set of skills that you do very well, and typically you be, say for instance, you want a relationship, but guys want to have this sexual relationship with you. So what they typically end up doing is they end up using you for sex, right? But how does this stem to the root of the problem? Like, my root sometimes, because I do ancestral work. So y'all got to understand something. I'm a little bit different than most of y'all because some of y'all are just dealing with yourself. I'm already dealing with a lot of myself, but I'm also dealing with a bloodline. And I'm not just healing one bloodline. I'm doing a few at one time. So that's like a little, when you're doing ancestral work, it's like, okay, how does this come down? But where is the root of this problem at? Because a lot of people, like, they don't like to call stuff out. They want to blame the black men. Stop. They do play a part in this. But right now, we're not talking about them. Where did this happen at? The root of this is also when the white people back in the day used to rape black women. Use them for their body. They couldn't be in a relationship with them, but they can stick their penis in their body. Is that not being used? Yes. And sometimes they had to lay down and have sex with this person, even though they didn't want to. That is still being used. And people don't even think about that part right there. It's a very important part. Now, I'm going to just touch on this with everybody because white men, so sorry, guys. So sorry what I'm about to say. White men used to do this to their own people. So you might know that your great-great-grandma or your grandma, she got raped. You might didn't know that, but you start doing healing work and it's been exposed. And then you start asking questions. And the people that know, you're like, hold on, what's going on? Because see, this happened with one of my white friends. She was like, oh my gosh. She's like, me and her sat down. We started doing womb healing. And I was telling her about this. I said, you got to be very careful on when you're doing womb healing and you feel like you want to go back and you want to touch and to heal your ancestral line. You got to be careful, especially with you being white, because some of your peoples are still racist. Okay. But also some of them went to the grave and still stand on what they did, which was nasty work. Right. So me and my friend, we did it. She's like, wow, like you were right. But she was like, she didn't know that like her great grandma got raped and then her mama got raped. It's something that she did not know. And then she didn't find out until we did womb healing. Okay. So when you're talking about certain things and when you're talking about like really healing, you got to understand like when you're being used as a sex object, it is not a fun thing. I remember I was like, okay, I'm taking a break off having sex. Like, this is crazy. I'm the god of sex. And so I just kind of feel like I'm going to chill right now because this ain't it. This ain't what I want for real. I mean, I do like it and I do this and I like all this and all that, but that's not what I really want, right? So I need to take a step back to see how can I get what I really want and get everything, right? So when people will be like, I remember, because I did tell you I was in a sexual relationship. We just was never called it a relationship, but we were in a sexual relationship, like boom. And I'm like, look, like once I'm entangled with you, once we huddled, I'm going to say huddle. Once we huddle, we huddle. But once we unhuddle, we are not huddled no more. I don't even like that stuff. Like I probably only like that stuff because you were into it, not because I was into it. But I remember like, I was like, man, you make me feel like I'm a sex object and I'm not. I remember saying this to this dude. I'm like, I'm not a sex object. Like, I don't like that. Like, the only thing you view me for is sex. Like, I'm telling you, when I used to be walking and dudes be like, man, you walk like you got some good sex. And I'd be like, oh my gosh, I am not a fucking sex object. Sorry for cussing, but I'm not. But did this hurt? And people didn't even really know it hurted. Like, no, they just said it. They didn't care. But it really hurt that you only see sex about me. I have a beautiful heart. I am a beautiful person. This doesn't feel right. Like you're, and I remember I told this to some dude. I said, so you're willing to stick your penis in me, but not be in a relationship with me? How weird is that? Like that. If you look at it from a using point of perspective, right? Especially if he is a black man. So you only feel like I am worthy enough to be used, but not worthy enough to be loved for real. Like that's crazy. And this go for any man, like in any culture, in any race, right? I'm just speaking about what I entertain. And what I have entertained in the past, not what I entertain no more, but what I have entertained in the past. So it's like, what are you doing? And a lot of people don't even realize the hurt of this, how this really hurts. I remember I had told somebody, I was like, I didn't like the fact that like when I was younger, I remember this, right? My mom moved us in this white neighborhood. I used to play with my neighbor and her dad was like, you're really pretty. And I went and played with her in her house and her dad like set me on his lap. And it was like really weird. Like, he's like, does this make you feel good? Like, you're making me feel good? And I'm like, but you look at me because I'm pretty and you did that to me. That doesn't make me feel good. That means you use me. That means you use me as a baby. Like, that's crazy. I don't know, like people don't look at this part right here. Like this is a using part. Whether people use you for sex, they use you for your friendship, they use you for your time, whether they use you for anything. Like this is a moment where it's like, once you start really doing that healing work, you got to target this area right here. Like who has used me? How have they used me? What have they used me for? What does most people want to use me for? You feel me? Because some people just use you for your light. Oh, let me give some light because she has light. I know she's going to give it to me. I'm feeling low on my energy, so let me call her because I know she's going to uplift me. How about I call you to uplift me? When have you did that? Have you did this lately? You feel me? Like, no. But a lot of people don't know, like, when I was a child, like, everywhere I used to go, besides some places, like, people would just want to touch me because they felt like I was that beautiful. Like, like, molest me. For real. Like, that's what it really was. And to the point where systematically, I remember, like, I used to be like, I don't want to do it. But then, like, sometimes it's coming to a point where you're like, oh, okay, like, oh my gosh, here. Like, a person shouldn't just want to just be like, give you their self just out of pity. Half the times it was really out of pity for a lot of men. Like, and I'm not saying I've been with a lot of men either, but I'm saying, like, people is crazy. That's the only thing I'm gonna tell y'all. And they don't realize the things that they do. Now, was this a cycle that need to be broken, which is why Pluto moved into Capricorn, started attacking us cardinal signs like crazy? Okay. Was this a thing that like we probably should heal, especially if you're a giver, right? Because sometimes it was like, I always was a receiver too, because my grandfather, he always gave to me. Like my daddy always gave to me. My brother always gave to me. The men in my life always gave to me. So it's not like I didn't know how to receive that. Sometimes we can shut ourselves down from being used so much to forget how to receive. Right? And I remember like, I really prayed for one day. I like prayed that I met this young man. Oh my gosh. I met this young man and he was it. I'm like, oh, I like him. Like, and I like him because he did everything right. And I didn't have to tell him, who's your mama? Like, my whole thing was, I was like, what's your mama name? Hey, y'all know me. Y'all know I'm funny, right? I'm right. But I was like, what's your mama name? And then it's like, was I really ready to receive him at that time? Like, I still was in the healing mode to the point where I don't even know if he could enjoy me at the right time because I wasn't in the right space, the right mental space, the right everything. And then I remember it's times where guys that like I like in their statue that I like about them that I didn't feel worthy enough to even stand next to them. And it's like, what? You're not even a catch. I am. Stop playing with me. But sometimes you being used can lead to like self-doubting talk, like you downing yourself some moments, like even though you know you her or you him, sometimes you can doubt yourself and people don't talk about that. And vice versa with my story, guys. Like if this is something that happened to you when you were a kid and you were a man, just apply it that way. Like not saying that you don't like, and I'm only speaking about my culture because I know about my culture and the things that have been done to Black people. But if you're any culture and you're listening to this, like, and this is somewhat your story, apply to healing the same way. That's the only thing I can say. Like it works. The only thing I can tell y'all is it works. But when I healed this issue, I cut some cords, right? Like, cause y'all gotta understand something. I don't be playing no games. Like, I am not the person to be playing with. Like, when it comes to like cord cutting, no. Baby, you will never be allowed back in this energy field, this space, no nothing. But my body felt lighter. I literally lost 3 pounds. Like, that was crazy. Like, whatever I was holding on to was so traumatic in my body that I was holding on to it in my body to the point where I lost 3 pounds out of nowhere. Alpha, just soon after doing this healing work. Like, it was crazy. And I was like, man, a lot of people don't know, like, if you got like some weight on you or you're trying to lose weight or whatever you're trying to do, sometimes you can just be doing that because you're holding on to things and they're just energy inside your body. Release that stuff so you can go ahead and move forward. Like, you gotta know what is best for you. Okay. Like, guys, like, you gotta do what's best for you. But guys, it is really time to stop allowing people to use you. This is not that time. And it came to a point where I'm like, I want to receive. I manifested. Y'all know I always talk about my Haitian because I really love that man. But I manifested a date where I'm just receiving during this date. Like, I'm not being taken from. There's nothing really being used. This man gave to me the whole entire date. Like, I didn't even have to tell him how to date me. He just knew how to. Okay. Perfection. Okay. Chef's kiss. Boom. I stamped that man from the universe. That man is blessed. But at the end of the day, like, did I really feel loved? Like, did I really receive a date of how I said I wanted to receive, which is really sad. Okay. Because see, back in when Pluto first hit, yeah, my surgeon did the same thing, but I like kind of like, nah, like I got a lot going on with school. Like, let me graduate. And then I got sick and we'll do a whoop. And then like I went on vacation. He went on vacation. We never seen each other. I'm like, hold on, what's going on? But it was a thing like that. I don't know how to feel about that. And then it was like I was just caught up in a cycle after that. Like that it just kept repeating. Besides, like my best friend and them, like I can't really speak on that. But when you allow people to use you, even as a sex object, a body, when they're not really given to you. So I remember I was dating this dude, and he told me like, I'm a pimp, shorty. I'm like, bruh, you is not no one thing for sure, two things for certain. You are not a pimp, okay? But he ended up turning out to be a pimp, but it was like I was thought it was. But he was like, should no man be around you if he's not given to you? Like, you have beautiful energy. And like, I may not understood what he was saying then because I was like in my moment, I was getting drunk, I was getting high, all the extra, you know what I'm saying? Sit over there on Pluto. The problem is like, it's really no problem, but I remember him saying that. And I'm like, well, okay. He was like, you really shouldn't be allowed nobody in your presence. I promise you that, not unless they are giving to you. You need to learn how to receive. And I remember the first time I met him, we was in the car. So crazy stuff happened. My cousin was just, when she do drugs, she just don't be all right when she do drugs. And we was in the car. And the next thing I know is, I'm like, I'm hungry. And I'm like, once I know if I say I'm hungry like 3 or 4 more times, it ain't going to be too nice for nobody in that car. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to buy my own food. They was like, okay, we going to buy your food. Like my cousin like picked up 2 dudes and that she know. And she's like, all right, can you hang out with me and my cousin? I was like, well, I'm hungry. And then we pulled up and dude was like, I'm going to pay for y'all stuff. I went in and paid for my own food. And dude was sitting there with the whole bankroll, pulled the whole roll out. Like when I say bankroll, he had at least 30,000 on him. He pulled it out like he was about to pay for my food. You took too long. I'm finna pay for my food. Like I'm not about to play no games because I know I'm hungry. Like I haven't ate all day. Like I'm hungry, especially when I know that I'm hungry. I might be upset. I don't know what's gonna happen after that. I don't know who comes out. A representative come out and she don't lose. So I remember he looked at me, he said, I ain't never met no woman like you. He was like, you ain't gotta never pay for nothing in front of me. I promise you that. And I never paid for anything in front of that man. He always paid for my gas when I came down there and seen him. He always paid for my food. If I was staying in a hotel, he paid for my hotel. Like he just did everything. Like, and I really can't say that like, I mean, I felt like he used me for love, but I don't feel like for my healing abilities, because even though I wasn't spiritually, I will always say I was spiritually woke. I mean, I just wasn't on cruise. At that time when I met him, I was on cruise control. Now that I'm off cruise control when I'm driving, it's a little bit different. So dealing with that, and it was like, okay, like you're talking to me to avoid a hole that you have in your heart. And I kind of healed that. And I was okay with healing that. And it was like, okay, well, technically I shouldn't. But a part of me was like, you used me because you knew that I have healing energy and you needed healing, but it just wasn't, you needed healing to be with me. You needed healing within yourself. And sometimes that is a recognition that when people that are love and light workers are light workers, they get used for their light, their energy. Or if you're a healer, sometimes people do use you for your healing abilities and don't give back. Like, where do you think this energy goes? We gave out a lot of energy to you and you kept that energy for yourself. Do you think you're going to be successful to not give back? That's dumb. Like I don't even play games like that. So the fact that you didn't give this back, which means that this energy has to come back to me because I gave it out to the universe. So whether you give it to me or give it back, the universe will eventually give me back my energy that I gave to you. So you always got to understand something. Everything always works like an 8. Right. And this is the 8 year. And then we're about to close out with, it's November, December. But it's a blessing to be able to be a part of something that helps a lot. But a lot of people don't understand that they are being used, or they don't even know how to express being vocal about that. But I feel like you have to be vocal with yourself first. Like, bruh, I was being used by everybody. And start listing those names and really start listing how they were using you or how you felt they were using you. Because as you writing that down, you might discover something that you never even knew. Like I started talking. I was like, listen, I know I waited I waited for this person to do this healing last. And I didn't understand why I wanted to do this healing last. I never understood why I couldn't do this healing while I was like really doing the healing work when COVID hit. But now I understand why, because there's a lot of things entangled with why I was being used, why I used to like that. That's because that somewhat goes to an ancestral line. Because not every line is in my bloodline is like that. But a particular one that plays a big part was. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Was. Because the one line, they gangsters. They're not even going to play with you. You even play with my great grandma like that, she'll shoot you in your face. Like, that's my great grandma. Then the other great grandma, she might pray for you, but she might also slap you too. You feel me? So you got to make sure like you know who you dealing with and when you dealing with people, because some people's not to be played with. So that's the reason why I said, like, when I'm doing ancestral work, I'm doing ancestral work for a lot of bloodlines where most people can't do that. So you have to be okay. Like, but once you start doing just healing work, sometimes you can just tap into stuff like you didn't know and this and that. And so sometimes there are certain things that are being played out in 2 different bloodlines and they're not even related. And that's because they both sometimes had the same starting root of their problem. Because I know my great grandma, it's a sin to do some of the things that they had Black people doing at one point in time. Like, it goes against the culture. It goes against the spirituality of things. And when you hear people say this and say that, like, I don't think they really understand the spiritual warfare of that, which somewhat plays out today. Okay. All right, guys. I know I could talk y'all head off about this being used thing, but I really feel like if you have not healed from being used, this is a step that you should really take right now, because there's a lot of energy that will be hitting this planet. There's a lot of planets that's about to go to retrograde. And if you go ahead and do this work, this karmic work, baby, when Pluto moved back into Aquarius, you will be out. I mean, right now you're already out of the cycle. You recognize there's a cycle, so you're able to jump out of it, but you're able to use the energy that is here to help you move out of it with grace and love. Because I'm a person, like, a lot of people like, oh, you're like, yeah, you want to do healing work. How about you say, I want to release this with love? If there's something that I do not need, release this with love. Release this with grace. Release this because because I remember I used to be like, oh, release it. And people, that's all they talk about is release. Baby, they missing a step, because I used to be crying. But now when I release things or things are getting released from my life, I just be in a good mode and a good, like, spiritual sense. And people say, why? Because I did it with love. And love is a beautiful thing. Like, love is not hard. Love is not pain. Love is not all that. So I don't experience pain or all of that when I'm doing release work. I actually experience love because this is how I set the intentions for what I'm doing. So when things do get cut off, I'll be like, oh, it's just love. I don't be sad or don't be crying or nothing like that. I might cry because I'm happy because I feel the weight being lifted off my shoulders. But I really be feeling real happy because I can sense and feel that there is a rebirth going on with me, and I'm going to be the best, beautiful butterfly there ever is going to be. Like, or the most beautiful star there's ever going to be. And I love it over here. Okay. Like, all right, guys, I ain't gonna talk out here out too much longer, but I really feel like I had to go a little extensive with this because a lot of times people don't understand, like, you can feel like you've been used for love. You feel me? Like, oh, like you knew that I wanted love. And so you wanted to experience love. And then once you experience love for me, then you were able to be able to give this out to other people, but you didn't return nothing back to me. So you owe that. Like, I remember one time this guy was like, I never knew love until I met you. And I was like, oh, is that right? But I didn't feel the same way. When I met you, I knew that I would never be with somebody who shows the signs that you do. Word is BOND. Like, I would not be with somebody who shows the signs of you. I'm telling you, if I walk in somebody's house and they got the 48 powers of law or 47 powers of law, I don't even know what it's called, bro, I will literally walk out. You are manipulative, bro. I'm at a stage of love where I cannot conform or come down off of this. But guys, take the time out to really heal and to see where you need to release and how can you heal from being used. There are steps to take, like calling people out, like, hey, like, I feel like I was doing healing work while dealing with some people because I was like, hey, I don't like that. I just be giving to you. You don't give nothing to me. Okay, well, I just gave you a whole bunch of good energy. You didn't return this energy back. Oh, I know that you just try to manifest off my energy. That means you owe me some money. Like, and I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. I really be on it. This season for me is stop playing with me. I never was playing with you. And what is owed to me will be due. Okay. And I'm going to receive it. So however I get it, I'm still going to get it back. Okay. But y'all got to know your worth. And not saying that I didn't know my worth at none of those times, because please believe, anybody know I'm top tier. I definitely know my worth. I know that I am her. I am beautifully her. Nobody else can be her but me, okay? And that's how you should feel about yourself. Like, nobody else can be you but you. And can't nobody else be me but me. And I really love that about me, that I'm really able to express that. But I'm really happy that I'm able to express, like, when I feel like somebody is using me. Because this is a big thing. Whether you're being used sexually, whether you're being used for your beauty, because a lot of pretty girls go through that. Thus, stop the cap, okay? Because I'm pretty, and I know sometimes we just be used for our good looks. But a lot of times people do things and they don't realize the effect that they might have on people afterwards, which can leave a big mark on how you might feel in the inside about yourself. And people don't realize that they're doing this, okay? So guys, take the time out to really see how you've been used. And if you have been used, how can you heal that? But how can you speak up for yourself and how to set healthy boundaries with this, right? And a healthy boundary would be like, okay, like, if you want to be my friend, I like to give gifts. Do you like to give gifts? This is like knowing your love language is where this plays a part at. Oh, you don't like to give gifts? Well, then I don't think we're going to be good friends. We're not going to be compatible because I love to gift my friends. I really love to love on my friends. So if I cannot love on you correctly and deeply, then I don't want it at all. Like, I don't want a half of friendship. Like, you don't call me at all. And I'm supposed to be okay with that. knowing that I would make time to speak with you at any time, even though I'm busy. I'm not that busy to the point where I can't call you and just tell you like, I love you, see what's up with you. Like I used to accept that, but that's a lame excuse right now. Like we're older, it's 2024. Stop playing with me. It's about to be 2025. We are all grown. We all have our own things going on, but you make time for the people that you really want to make time for. So why are you using me? I'm just this friend that you talk to in your spare time. No. Set a boundary. Okay. You have to know your boundaries and you have to know the things that hurt you and speak about that. But guys, I challenge you to really know your love language because this plays a part, but to really experience the healing and how beautiful this will come off of your core energy being used. I'm telling you, like, it was like, I was like, oh my gosh, like this got released from my body. Like I done did healing work, but I ain't never felt nothing like that. Just been, yeah. Like, and I did like a lot of things and a lot of people, and I'm like, okay, this is what I should have been doing from the beginning. Okay. But guys, really take that time out to really see how you've been used and healed that I want to be used by you. And if you have a mindset where we all use people for things, then you need to understand why you say that and really dig deep into that on why you feel that way and heal that. Because when you're giving love, that should never feel like you're using somebody. Like, I'm using you for the love that you give. No, that doesn't even sound right. Like, you should just be giving because you want to give, and you should be receiving because you want to receive. Like, but if I feel like I got to be used in order to receive, then that's not right. And that's not fair to you. So heal that, guys. Okay. All right, guys, but let me know how you feel about this podcast, okay? Hit me up on the Pretty Red ENT show.podbean.com. Let me know how you feel about it, or hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat at the Pretty Red ENT show, okay? And let me know how you feel about it. But you know, just let me know how you feel about it. Especially for my people who have like really sexual like trauma. Because this somewhat is a part of that sexual trauma. So let me know, guys. But thanks for always tuning in and tapping in to the Pretty Red ENT show. It's your girl, Goddess Naquita, a.k.a. Pretty Red ENT.